Hey, I just got back from Melbourne yesterday and I haven't done a video while I was over there. I was hoping to get one at Ramfest with Josh, but when I got there it was so packed, it was ridiculous. 2 scooter birthday parties on, so no BMX video unfortunately. But I thought, seeing as I hadn't done an arcade video for a while, I would do a tour of my gaming room to help cover that. So let's have a look at it. First of all, apologies, this place is an absolute disaster zone. There's no organisation whatsoever. I haven't really aimed to collect anything specifically. I've just hoarded basically what's come up cheap over the years. Anyway, I'll start up here. Got some Amiga power supplies and a whole collection of beige mouses and yeah, that. The Amiga textbooks that everybody's probably seen from that era in the day, Aura Interactor amp, various other junk. I think that's a Dreamcast keyboard up there. A couple of Amiga MIDI interfaces for some reason. I don't know why I need them, but hoarders will hoard. I've got a whole stack of pirated Amiga floppy disks. I just collected those. I don't know why. That might be handy one day. Then software galore. We've got random Atari ST educational software, games, some PC titles from when I was a kid packed up in there. I think there's some Aminet CDs, that's a bit random. Got a copy of System 7 for Mac because my Amiga 4000 had a Mac emulator installed in or on it. A few boxed Amiga games. And we've got a whole stack of controllers in no particular order. Then we have my Tommy racing game from when I was a kid. That was pretty cool, I like that. Then we've got a Dreamcast steering wheel. We've got 1 Mega Drive. We've got a Dreamcast. The PS1, another 2 Mega Drives. I've got Mega Drives everywhere for some reason. They seem to be really common. The Master System 2, I think. An HD Fury. I seem to collect those for some reason. We have an Amiga. No. Blasphemy. We have an Atari 1040 STE and we have an Atari 1040 ST. We have an Amiga 500. This is an ancient one. I got in a pack with this 1960 monitor. I got it mostly for the monitor. I got it sold to me cheap by this Amiga guy here. He never sells anything cheap, but it's the crappiest of crap Amigas with a 1.2 kickstart, and this monitor had a crack in the chassis and it was arcing. So yeah, I guess that's why he sold it cheap. It was a bit of a shock to the system, but I managed to repair it with some fine soldering. Then we have an Amiga later model one with a large sticker on it. Got that from the tip shop just for the power supply. It's got a 1 meg memory expansion. It's yellow as hell, but still worth picking up. It's only about 50 bucks. We've got an Amiga 600 motherboard. I found that in the parts bin, mate's parts bin when I was a flatmate with him. It still works, I thought I should keep that. Then we have a Mint, as close as you're going to get to Mint without the box, Amiga 1200 HD40. It hasn't even had the screw, the hole broken on it. Nearly white. It actually still worked, couldn't believe it. It wouldn't fire up initially, but I gave it a couple of taps on top of where the hard drive was and it fired into life. Then we have the first Amiga I got since I got out of it in my childhood. It's an Amiga 1200 I built out of parts off eBay over time. It's got an Invision, I think it's an Invision ACA 1230 accelerator in it, and an Invision AGA Scandabler Mark II one. Yeah, I haven't turned that on for ages. It was kind of cool at the time, but I moved on, I guess. We'll go back down here. This is an Amiga 4000 I picked up. This is pretty cool. I've played around with it quite a bit. It came with another monitor. It looked a bit like a 1084S, but it was a bi-sync monitor. That's just stored away in a cupboard somewhere. I've got this one on there because I think they're slightly better. They're the usual Gotek and that in. I think it's got a 040 25 megahertz processor in there from memory, network card, and the Mac sort of emulator card that just holds the Mac ROMs on there. That's pretty cool. That was a bit of fun, but I haven't touched it for ages. Just like to add it to the collection. And I've got an Amiga 600. This is pretty cool. It's got a vampire card in it. These are quite interesting. One of the fastest accelerators you can get from Amiga, also the cheapest for what you can get. Now, I haven't turned this on for ages though, because really, the development on this, they're doing a lot of hardware work behind the scenes, but software-wise and with what's going on, hasn't really held my interest. So it's just sitting there waiting. Looking forward to what they do with the Mark IV standalone Vampire, but anyway, it's still an item of interest. If any of this is worth looking at and you want me to do a video on it, probably say something. Now I get on to the interesting parts. Well, probably not the interesting parts, but the console side of it. First off, we've got this Sony TV. Can't remember the exact model. They'll probably look it up if someone's interested. Now this started out as a 100 kilohertz TV. It was the first one that I successfully RGB modded. Now I didn't know about 100 kilohertz TVs at the time, and then I found out about it. It was quite horrible because I liked the TV, but all of my games were being upscaled to 31 kilohertz, which was, I wasn't impressed with that. I wasn't happy. But I found out that the way the 100 kilohertz works is it upscales from a separate chip into pretty much a VGA, 480p VGA signal, into the jammer IC of this particular TV. So I did a whole lot of hackery, and it went on for a while to make it all switch backwards and forwards. But what you're seeing here is a Dreamcast running in 480p VGA on this TV, which is great. It's got House of the Dead 2 running, and the light gun works perfectly with it. So that's quite an interesting setup. I'm very happy that that worked out in the end. The next setup, which you've probably seen and talked about in some of my other vids, is the KVHR32. I still play my PS4 on that. Watch a lot of video on here. It has the newer model consoles, and if it comes on, yeah, there we go. You can see that is working away. That still cops the most use out of any of the TVs in here. The final set that I have is this low 4.3 TV. This is a 15 kilohertz set, and the Mega Drive on here is actually playing up. I think it's in overclocked mode. I'll have to dip that back. It was stable before, but old hardware has its faults, I suppose. Right, here we go. There it is running again. Really, really nice colour. Really, really nice scan lines. I like that setup. Works very well, but I don't play it that often because the sharpness seems to want to cut my face off. Yeah, typical consoles around. We've got N64, we've got another Mega Drive. That's the at least external audio one, slightly better. Well, it's not the HD one, but it's still alright. I've got whatever random games I happen to accumulate with sets, or some of them I decided to buy off eBay. I went through a little phase of getting various cartridges over time. Some old golden books from when I was a kid. More Mega Drive games, Master System games. Some old golden VHS from when I was a kid as well. Yeah, this pretty much sums it up, but yeah, pretty much all the consoles are modded in some way. PS4's modded, the PS3's modded, the Xbox 360's modded, the Wii's modded. Even the old consoles have got various NTSC and PAL or overclocking mods done to them. The Dreamcast, that's there, doesn't need to be modded. It probably needs repairing because it's playing up, but you can copy the games for those just by burning a CDR, so that's easy. You know, Xbox in there, original Xbox, that also outputs VGA with a BIOS mod. Again, it's, as of course you'd expect, it's got a hard drive on there, 2 terabyte one filled with every game you can possibly get. We also have some interesting gear up here. We have Amiga 2000. That's got an SCSI controller and it's actually pretty cool. Don't have a keyboard for it though, unfortunately. That's a major stopper. I've got a NES. Doesn't work. I've got to work on making that happen. We have this. This is really cool. This is a RISC PC 700. Got this from the tip shop. We had these when I was in primary school. We had the wedge-shaped Amiga, it's like 500 style ones. And this is really cool. I think I also had them right through to high school, and these have got a fairly fast RISC processor in them, but they also have 486DX4100 PC accelerator card in it, which is really cool. It's got these external SCSI drives, and it's still loaded with all the creative work the people who had it did over the years of having it. And it's really interesting to get on there and see some of what they did. They used a lot of DTP software and did a whole lot of work on that computer. It's probably a bit nosy, but it's good to see something like that in its original sort of habitat, I guess. Up here we've just got more junk and books, a bit of box software for the RISC PC. I don't even know why I have that Panasonic sign up there, but it's there. A couple of BVM or PVM monitors that I've got given to me. Kind of cool, don't get much use. There we go, and probably not a very well thought out tour of my gaming room, but it is what it is. I still spend a fair bit of time out here, especially watching video content on the KVHR32 when it's cold in winter. If you saw something that you liked or you want to know more about, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.